Well, we got either a smart idea or a dumb idea. All right, we are out. I'm gonna do some ripping. Got this Landau 2430 11 ripper, I think. It's an 11 shanker. So I better get my gears selected right. Get my auto steer. Joe was out here working there we go. And we're ripping. He's just got the disc just tickling it. We're using all of the horsepower we got, or almost. So, side note, in the last video, I was saying how this thing needed to be the emissions. We got it fixed and they put a fuel saving tune in it. So I think it's like engine wise, it's like 5 1/4 right now, and that's all this tractor really wants back there. This ground is tight. It hasn't been deep ripped in years. We did tile it, but we didn't deep rip it. So we're alleviating some compaction, that's for sure. We'll be set up good for next year's corn crop. All right. Well, I got triangle piece over there done. Now we're into the long rounds. So it is ripping hard for, which is to be expected of this time of year. Oh, you guys are gonna get a bit of a whirlwind of a ride. So I can clip right along around where it's not compacted. We're about 6 miles an hour, but then she lugs down. This thing actually lugged down pretty good. Pretty good for, I guess, an electronic engine. Like the old school Cummins, you could really lug those things down, like our MX210. But this thing will bark and lug down pretty good. So this farm hasn't been ripped ever. I don't ever remember doing it. Maybe Dad did it back when we were ripping, but got tiled, then we put it to corn. We didn't rip it after we tiled it because we were leveling tile runs. Then it went to corn, then it went to soybeans, then back to corn, back to soybeans. And last year it rained all the time and we had lots of water laying on it even though it was tile. So it went to wheat, and so now we're kind of just addressing some of those areas where the water laid and maybe years of compaction prior to tiling it. So it'll set this field up perfectly for corn next year. So burning about 27, 28 gallons an hour. And that's just the average, so that's over the course of the time. If we look at performance, we're about, I would say we're probably closer to that 15 acres an hour, 13, 14 acres an hour. So it's doing a good job. We're doing a lot of work with one pass, so I'm kind of glad we got a bigger one because it's slow going. I don't even know if our MX210, if we had like a case one, a 870, if it would even pull it in these conditions, a 7-shank. It's really tight grounded spots. But you can see it really start to lug down. And it'll just stay at it, and then it'll come out of it. So anyways, I might get you guys out on the machine and get the drone up here eventually. All right, let's just come out and kind of explain what this unit is doing. So we got discs in the front here, and the ground's so hard they just ride out of the ground and lift it up. So we're just tickling the ground with them. And then these big shanks here are going through the ground, and they are lifting and fracturing. So they're lifting up underneath that plow pan and cracking it. And underneath, we've got good soil structure, just years of shallow tillage or compaction from the combine or the grain cart, and just equipment driving over it. We've created a compaction layer, so when roots go down looking for moisture or water, it infiltrates, it hits that plow pan, and they get held up. So we're just trying to lift and alleviate that plow pan. So our water's gonna get down to our tile a lot easier. And then also too, roots will be able to follow those cracks and channels down and tap into either deeper subsoil moisture or nutrients that might be down there. Then it'll come back. We've got these leveling discs, so those lift and fracture and make it real lumpy. These just level it, and then we've got the rolling baskets here that just bust up any clumps and make it a little smoother finish. So this isn't something that we would do like every year. This is what we will do in a rotation, and we like to do tillage like this after wheat, when it's typically we've got nice dry conditions, so we're not just lowering that plow pan. So you can see here now the ground's nice and loose and mellow, and so about every 24 inches one of those big shanks is going through. And the reason we rip on an angle to what we drive is I try and do controlled traffic with my equipment, so I try and drive in the same spot all the time. And so since I drive east-west, I might not get one of those shanks right on wheel track. So when we rip on an angle, we make sure that we bust up those wheel tracks and ruts. So we're just incorporating that residue, working it in, and this ground will act like a sponge. So when we get a rain, and then over the course it will settle back out, and hopefully with the extra air in there, it'll stimulate the microbes in it. Like you can see, we've got wormholes, and we've got pretty good soil structure to begin with. I think when we soil tested this farm, I think the average is like 5.5, and the low is 4, and the high is like 6.5. So we got lots of soil organic matter there. I know you can see these big wormholes here, but yeah, that's where the wheat root is. You can see where the worms were. There's not a whole lot. It's so dry up in the top of the soil, top 6 inches. I imagine the worms are deep down. That's why I'm not seeing any seagulls. But anyways, we're burning lots of diesel fuel doing this, and that's the expensive part about compaction. Not only is it less yield, but it's very expensive to fix or treat, and you got to have the right conditions to use a tool like this to remove that compaction, which is why we're doing it right now. Perfect conditions to go and bust up compaction. You don't want to do it when it's wet because you just make it worse. So get you guys on the ripper and you guys can check out, or I'll put you on the back of the tractor. You guys can check it out from the cab, outside the cab. All right, I don't know if you guys can see me. I can see you on the camera. Just getting close to wrapping up here. I just got a little triangle along here to do. I did the back headland, so it's all done. Ripped as close to the bush as possible. See if I can cut some of them tree roots off so it doesn't hurt the crop. But something interesting that I noticed is we're in an area right now in here. When we soil tested it, it was calling for lime. And one thing I have noticed, it is pulling a lot harder. Like normally I could pull it in 6. I'm down, lugging down in 4. Anywhere this 10 acres that we applied the lime on, definitely there was something up that's different about this soil type, that it is much tighter and harder for pulling. So where we didn't have to apply the lime and the pHs were good, I can cruise along at 6, no problem. I'm in this stuff we put lime on, so it'd be interesting to see if the lime helps with that, or it's just part of the soil type that we're dealing with right here. But it's not working up as fine, it's working up more in slabs, and it's definitely taking some fuel to bust that up. So hopefully ChatGPT says that'll help with soil loaminess, but I think it's still part of the parent material of the soil. It's a heavier soil. But anyways, I'm coming up to the end here. I got to get turning. I'm hoping I'm done within the hour is my goal. It's a lot of turning, so I'm not as efficient. I'm doing a lot of turning, but I should be good. Anyways, I'll catch up with you guys later. All right, got her all done. I was about an hour and a half. Headlands always take longer, and those wedges too. But got her all worked. I left this side not done, so when we're chopping corn silage, we're not having to drive through this rip ground. And same here, I left a path here, so when we're doing either this is corn silage or grain corn, we've got unworked dirt to drive on, and we'll just work that when we'll work all that when we take the corn off. So probably still gonna have to farm around that next year and this, but we'll make it work. It's not the end of the world. It's only for another year. Well, used about half a tank of fuel, I think, to work 70 acres. I'm just gonna leave this thing here, because this thing is big and awkward and I can't see to really navigate around the yard. So anyways, guys, I don't know, I'll look back on the video and footage and see if I just do it as one video. I might wait and give you my final thoughts on running that, because I don't think I'll be running it anymore. I think Joe's gonna work the other farm, and then maybe we'll compare notes and see what we think of this ripper. My impressions with this thing, I've pulled an 875 with my MX210, a 7 shank, and this thing pulls way harder than a case ripper. So whatever they spec you out for horsepower, they're not lying on. It takes some ponies to pull. So anyways, guys, catch up with you later. All right, evening, guys. We are back ripping, burning lots of dinosaur bones. So we're into a new field here. Same story as before. This field hasn't been deep ripped in a long time. And not that the crops haven't been good on here, but you know, we always try and do a little bit better every year. So, but anyways, just going up and down. This stuff's breaking down a lot finer than at home, different soil, a little more loam in it, but we've got more hills here. So I'm just cruising along at 5 miles an hour. Good morning. We are back ripping again. I worked late last night. There's a lot of turning and stuff, so you're not as efficient getting over the acres in this farm. And I didn't feel like working super late into the night. Especially, I don't know if somebody's here or not, so I didn't want this loud beast running too late and keeping everybody up. So just let her warm up a bit and we'll go back going north-south. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed some of those outside the cab shots. I'll tie in last time's drone footage for a little montage. I'll see what the wind does here in the next hour or so, but it's a little too windy to get the drone out. But you guys could see all the behind the scenes work to get those action shots. You guys would really appreciate the work we do. And with that being said, if you do like that stuff, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. I'll do my best to keep you guys entertained. Alright, I kind of go in explaining the cost of this tillage pass. So on the first farm we did, it was really heavily compacted. We averaged about 8.5 liters to the acre of diesel fuel. I think diesel fuel is like a hair over $1 a liter for farm fuel, not highway fuel, farm fuel. Then my time, I can decide what my hourly rate is. So we were doing about 10 acres an hour. So let's say they're paying me, I'm an expert operator. I'm getting $30 an hour. That could be on the high end, that could be on the low end. So easy math, $3, 8, there's 11. Let's call it $12. And then the tractor, everybody's tractor costs are different. But say at this thing here, at $150 an hour, divided by 10 acres an hour is 15. 12 plus 15 is 27. So that would be our cost for it. Just hold on, I got to turn here. So break even on it would be 27. So I would think if you were going to custom disc grip for somebody, you need to be in that $30 an acre range, because business you want to try and make 20%. So if it costs us $27 times 1.2, $32.50 an acre to rip. Now, like I said, everybody's costs are different. Maybe if the ground wasn't so hard, I wouldn't use as much diesel fuel. So this is probably extreme conditions for ripping. So this is a good, say this is the top end of fuel usage. So, but yeah, and I also didn't have the cost of the ripper. So the cost of the ripper, most guys, about $15 an acre. So maybe my tractor number's high or whatever, but just in fuel and labor, we're 12, 15 for the ripper. So that's, that's 27. And then we still don't have the tractor. So we figured $10 an acre for the tractor. So we need to be damn near 40 bucks an acre in these conditions, ripping. So I should look up and see what the tractor is, because there's some guys that they'll go out and they'll do it for 27 because while the tractor's paid for. Well, you've got maintenance costs and stuff like that, or opportunity costs if you want to upgrade that tractor later. So it's in these tight commodity prices, it's crucial to know your costs and how you're spending your dollars and where you're spending the dollars to get the most return. You can still spend a lot and make money, but as long as you're spending it on stuff that you're getting a good return on, that's fine. But just going and throwing money out there and not tracking it to see if there was a positive ROI, that's a slippery slope to climb. So we like to sit down. I got spreadsheets. I know what my costs are to an extent, not maybe as good as some, but I've got a pretty good handle on what it costs to grow a crop of corn, soybeans, wheat, take a calf to finish. And that's really helped us, narrow in on enterprises that make us a good return so we can stay profitable long term. But anyways, enough of me chatting. We're getting down to the last probably 7 or 8 acres, and there's lots of turning. So I'll catch up with you guys when we're doing headlands, and then we'll see what we got to do when we get home. Well, this will be the biggest tug, the steepest part of the farm. Let's see if we'll make it. I think we'll make it. We're lugging down pretty good. There's lots of fuel. Oh, I made it through that no problem. I'm still not to the top yet. get out and change a shear, or put a shank back. We busted a shear pin on one of the shanks. I've done 2 so far. And then I'm gonna attribute to it was a big stone down below. I ripped up one big stone. There's a stone right there. But overall, Dad's biggest fear on this farm was if we pulled a ripper, we'd spend months picking stones. And in all honesty, I've ripped this, and there's only a handful of stones worth going and picking. The rest are fine. So I don't know what his deal was, but anyways. Got a turn here, we're working on the angle, so she's slow going. All right, looks like we got another shear pin, and I busted a point. Probably found a big stone somewhere. And we'll get that changed. Get that put back in. It looks like I'm buying a ripper point too. Just got headlands left, so make sure we get her back down and it won't wear it out too bad, but I do got to get a point. Where am I going to put you guys? You guys see it? Last time I had to climb up. Jump on it. Almost. Go. Changed it. All right, we got her in place. Oh, I need a better hammer. There we go. If I hadn't used self-locking nuts, I would have been done way sooner, but anyways, let's get back in the cab. Well, that's all she wrote for ripping for now. Appreciate Delta letting us demo this thing. It's a little out of our price range because it is like a brand new one. But if you are looking at a ripper, I would highly recommend you take a look at one of these, because I've ran an 870 and 875, and this thing is heavy and well built, and it gets in the ground when it's hard. I was hearing some guys were saying they're having a hard time getting their case rippers in the ground. No problem getting that thing in the ground, and it's well built. So anyways, let's get back to the yard and see what Joe's up to. Back to demoing. Well, demolition, not demoing a ripper. Well, Mitch is working away at that. During the week, we had a boring company come in and they bored in underneath all the barns in the yard some more water line, and they ran some conduit for the well. So now we just got master electrician Ryan here, gonna put it together. Wave to the boys and your dad and uncle. You're famous now. They hit a water line last night, that's why there's a bit of water in there. And the excavator hit it and ripped everything off in the hen house here, but they got her all fixed up. So imagine there's a bit of excitement in there. All right, we're back working on the corn head. Got a new workbench here. Took a bit of a hiatus on getting this thing ready. So we're just working away. We're gonna get 14 of the 16 done, because the outside ones, we gotta take all this apart to get at them. Take the snouts off, so it's a bit of a project. Definitely a two-person job. So I think I'm good. I got the springs all on. Start throwing the chains on. Just make sure I got it going the right way too. One chain on. Greasy. These things are, you got a lot of There. Rebuilt. Now we just gotta finish putting stuff back together and then we'll work away at the end ones. Well, this is evidence of why Joe works on equipment and I just break it. Because I got 2 chains on backwards. Alright. Everything put back together. And then we went to go hook up the drive shafts and the PTO shafts won't slide out. So we had to pop them off and stretch them out. Since we got some anti-seize, we'll pull them apart, coat them with that and penetrating oil, and hopefully we don't have to do this again next year. All right, that's gonna wrap it up on the corn head. We got a couple brackets that we got to put in place, but we fired it up, tested everything. Vast improvement over last year, so money well spent. We were joking, is what the hell do we do if this didn't work in the head? Jokingly, I said we accidentally hit a tree with it and write it off and get a better, get a new corn head. But no, it'll be a good head now. PTO shafts we got freed up. I happened to spray some penetrating oil in there, and by the time Joe found a chain to hook them all up, it must have worked its magic and it freed everything up. But they literally just fell apart. It made us look stupid, but that's not uncommon for us to look stupid. Well, Mitch is just, there's a bit of concrete left in the floor here that he'll have to bust up. So he's just getting all the sand and everything pushed out away from it. And then he'll rip, I think he wants to rip this floor up. Joe has to go have supper with his family. They rented a cottage this week, so he's going up to have supper with them. So I'm gonna go wash my hands, get something to drink, and then I gotta mix up some cattle feed for the fat cattle and do night chores. So that's what I'm gonna work at. Catch up with you guys tomorrow. Well, we got either a smart idea or a dumb idea. I'm gonna go try the edibles, see where the moisture's at. Anything around 14. We probably won't keep going, but if they're 14 and up, we'll probably just do a little bit and see how much rain we get. Update in a few. Well, we tried the beans. 12-9, too dry. We weren't splitting bad, but just in being too dry, the yield that we were giving up, I figured probably was just in moisture alone, probably a bag and a half, and at $40 or $50 a bag, that's $75 an acre. And they were probably only going to get drier, so we'll just, that was 12.9 with some weedy spots that were bringing the average up to 20. So once we got into drier beans, they were probably going to be a little bit less. So we will wait for a rain. Hopefully we get some tonight and Monday, and in all honesty, not a big rain forecasted, so we might only get them to 16 or 17, but that's a hell of a lot better than sub 14 moisture beans. I know, talking to a few buyers, they weren't real keen on receiving any beans at 14 because they've got a lot, and just further down the line, every time you handle them you can crack them again. So their suggestion was wait for rain, and so that's what we'll do. But got the combine flushed out of wheat and all the crap that was in it, so it's good to go. And a few things, auto header height needs to be worked on, so because the head wasn't tracking the ground properly, so got to get that fixed. But it's good to start. We know we got a grocery list of things we want to address before we can get going, but at least I know where we're at, and I got a rough idea, I think, on yield, but we only did maybe an acre, so, and it was mostly headlands with lots of weeds, so the yield wasn't super anyway. So anyways, guys, that's it for this video. Hopefully I will get it out tonight, and because it's Sunday the 21st, so hopefully I get it out tonight. If not, it'll be out Monday. So anyways, keep it between the ditches.